Welcome to Youth Agenda. I am Hosanna Craft, your host, like you already know. And joining me today on this episode is Mr. Idris, and Mr. Biodun Adedire. Welcome on this episode of Youth Agenda. So, there's been this whole thing happening around tax policies since last year. We've had a couple of, different speculation, different perspective, different people coming up with everything about the tax. But let's just be clear on what these tax policies are right before we go into our conversation. So with the Federal Inland Revenue Service being replaced with the new Nigerian Revenue Service, NRS, this agency now collects federal taxes and some non-tax, revenues, aiming for better enforcement and, digital service and delivery. We have a corporate tax, that's for the company tax, for the small businesses. We also have personal income tax, which is PIT. We also have capital gain tax. There's just a lot of VAT, commercials, policies, and all of that. So, which really brings me to today's conversation. Let's start with these tax policies because we're going to be looking at the creative economy, everything that some creators and youths need to know about what's going on with the creative, because a lot of them have different ideologies of what's going on. So let's talk about this policy in a language that is plain enough. So I'll start with you. What do you understand about these tax policies and how do you think it's going to affect the youth?
As regards this task, firstly, I would just say that the youth, firsthand, they don't have this idea of what the task actually means to them. So I believe the way you say it, we should make it plain to these people to understand what this tax actually means. So firstly, I would say that when you go to locals, to them, you make a good explanations of how they are to pay taxes. Perhaps I don't see locals paying taxes the way I see maybe the content creators or maybe marketers or people that are actually gaining more in this tax of 18. So I feel like we need to understand what these particular taxes are and how those people who are exempted from these taxes, maybe the youths and those people who actually are not living up to that expense, that they are actually into paying these particular taxes. So I believe we as young persons, we need to understand the concept first before we can just maybe judge whatever is happening now.
Okay, so let's say that let's talk about creative economy. Let's say there's something on tax going on right around, and I know you're more into the creative economy and all of that. So how do you think this tax currently is going to affect the young people who are in creatives and digital entrepreneurs?
All right. For creative sector, I think this is quite a very questionable initiative. Questionable not in the sense of it being wrong. Any functional country, any functional nation has its people paying taxes, right? And the function of taxes is to help stabilize the economy. It's also as well to create some sort of commonwealth for the people, right? So for the creative industry and the creator economy, I mean, it's almost a $2 billion, sector, one of the biggest after oil and gas in Nigeria, right? So how does it affect us? I don't necessarily think it affects us as a people, because when we have a better nation, when we have better structures, when we have better development, it becomes very, very, what's the word? It becomes very, very beautiful to associate yourself with the nation, right? Production becomes easier when we have a functional country. I mean, there are a lot of things that are happening now. You want to shoot, in some places in Lagos, you have to build the set yourself,
Really?
But yes, there are places where you have to pay extra to do stuff. But imagine, because of the taxes we pay, the government is able to say, okay, you know what, let us build a creative studio or something that is massive enough that people can shoot music videos, But it all still goes back to leadership and governance. How will these taxes be managed? How will these funds be shared? How will, what will be done with the taxes collected, right? So, and I feel like it's has become a necessity for the federal government to be very plain with us, as a people. Give us at least 10 projects that you want to execute using taxes, right? This is the reason why people are having issues with taxes, because people do not see themselves included, right? You say, let us pay tax, let us pay tax. What are you going to do with our taxes, right? The federal government needs to be more plain and have maybe a 10 project agenda or something. So it's a very beautiful initiative if executed properly.
So let's talk about creative economy, yeah? Many young people think that, being a creative is just about content creation. It's just, let's do content. Many people have that in them. And how can we redefine this structured set of mind thinking to a young Nigerian watching us right now?
All right. Creativity is way beyond, content creation or being a clown, right? Creativity is literally is at the heart of everything, right? Is that spirit of excellence, right? Is that paying attention to details, right? Creativity is doing something that everybody is doing, but doing it in a different way, doing it in a special way. So creativity is not just bound in the scope or the sphere of content creation, right? And, it's just so sad that what has been celebrated so far is entertainment, it's Afrobeats. And Nigeria as a whole, we have more than Afrobeats. In Nigeria, we have over 50 festivals that when you get to and you see the exhibition of excellence, you'll be shocked. What if I tell you that the art to be able to carry a masquerade and dance in it successfully is creativity? How many people can do it? But guess what we're celebrating? Afrobeats, Dirty December.
So you're saying in the creative economy there are just some aspects that are untapped or some set of people
Definitely.
who are not recognized for
100%.
creativity.
100%. And it's because it's not pop, it's not pop culture, right? And I think it's a fundamental problem. It has become so bad. Let me use the word bad because, how do we explain to people that in Nigeria, all we have to export in terms of creativity is music, right? I mean, music is a universal language, right? But permit me to use this or to say this, right? A time will come where the world will not listen to Afrobeat the way they're listening to Afrobeat. I'm not cursing, I'm not talking down on Afrobeat, but history repeats itself. The reggae music used to be the highlight of it. The reggae music used to be number one in the world. How many people listen to the reggae music now? And what impact has that had on them? Sometimes you look at these guys, see, they're just junkies. Nothing really came out of it. So a time is coming where Afrobeats will not be the top of the news like it is right now. What else can we export?
So we'll be left with showing what else, what other versatilities, what other forms of creativity can we show? Right. So now let's talk about, coming from the political angle. Do you think right now that creativity is more than oil and tech? Because we had oil come up one time and everybody was like, oh, oil, and we have tech and all of that. So do you think it's going to also help in driving national growth for young Nigerians?
Yeah, actually, because like you said, it's not actually infused in only content creation. When you talk about creativity, you mean innovation, you mean production, you mean thinking positively and coming up with ideas that can actually, make impact. So what it means to national development, like for instance, you have current university students who are actually creative. I go to universities, I see most of them, they are coming up with various ideas how to, under climate where I actually work, you see them coming up with ideas of how to, change trash to something very valuable. So those are ideas that are actually pushing growth and development, and I think that is where we should move our focus to.
100%.
All right, that's interesting. So, are there any youth-friendly taxes on ground right now for the youth to take up on or jump on? Because we have been talking about tax policy and all of that.
Currently, I think no, because I recently saw an opportunity online where I actually wanted to apply, just the way you had an application and people, they are going to sponsor your idea or your project. So those kind of ideas or initiative are fully free of being taxed. You cannot say you want to come and tax something that is being created or something like that. So I don't think the answer is no.
So some young creatives are actually always scared of registering their businesses, because they fear that, they'll bring tax upon us. So do you think there's a knowledge gap there? There's something they don't know about it?
Oh, 100%. It pays you to have a business now, or better put, it pays you to have a company now registered than ever before. Because if you're diverting the funds from your business into personal income funds, then you pay personal income tax. And personal income taxes are way above, company or limited
Really?
liability company taxes. Yeah. Do you understand? If you have a company, you can get up to like 5%, 10% tax abatement, right? So, there's still a whole lot to learn about taxes, right? So, registering your business will open you to, as a creative, will open you to funding, will open you to better structure in your business, because if there's no order, there's no growth. And this is what Nigerians we need to know, right? Because we just see it as entertainment, we just see it as dancing, we just see it as, it's a business, right? We have to register our businesses. You have to have a company. Because what you're building is beyond yourself. And I feel like this is what a lot of people do not know, because, you're making money from it right now. It's beyond yourself. You should see beyond where you are currently. And I feel like when you have this kind of mindset, you know that it's better you put structure in place. Right?
So how can young people really move from, the normal trending conversations? Because I feel like the young people we have today or our sets today, we are really, engulfed or carried away by too much of trending things, especially in entertainment and the things going online. We want to just, jump on every kind of trend that comes. So do you think policymakers are finally beginning to listen to our voices when we are always showing only things about entertainment? Do you think they really care about what we have to say when we are serious about, talks that have to do with creativity?
I think policymakers, they don't see that they don't actually care about what we are doing. When you look at the current Nigerian trend, you notice that last week it was about Christmas. When you come to this week, you're talking about Very Dark Man's Girlfriend. So when you look at the situation...
So these are the things.
Yes, when you look at the situations, when they say policy is being made by maybe a policymaker or the Senate or anything, when you go towards, hearing out people who are crying because of that policy negatively affect them, you notice that there are only few individuals. But when it comes to entertainment, you see that that entertainment actually captures what the most Nigerians do. So I think we are actually going the wrong way doing that.
So I know that Nigerians or youths, or because I know most of the people that create these edits online are youths and they are creative. Do you think we are how can we move past this whole trending conversations to actually influencing for policy conversations that can affect young people?
I think Nigerian youths are conditioned to only fall for entertainment. And that is, right there, is a trap set for us. Because we are not raising next generation leaders. If all we do is go on TikTok and laugh all day, if all we do is watch people dancing, if all we do is watch people clown away, and they are making money, right? You see this person making a mess of himself online, throwing powder on his face, spitting everywhere. He is making money. But because it entertains you, you are not being inspired to be, what you're supposed to be, right? So we need to go back to, it's a fundamental problem, right? And how do we correct it? It starts with us. I run an initiative that I call Creators for Change Initiative. I believe that for you to be a creator, you're supposed to do beyond entertainment. you're supposed to do beyond doing for yourself? What are you giving back to the community? What are you giving to the next person beside you? What are you doing that is raising a concern, a global concern towards your nation, towards your community? We have people who are exporting. I mean, not to mention names. We have a guy in Nigeria that's running a Chess in Slums initiative. It's taking a lot of young kids from Ikorodu, from the slum, to the United States of America to play chess. These people are not being celebrated.
Enough, yeah.
You know, why? Because they are not dancing, they are not shaking their bum. And this is a question to us Nigerians. How many of us have been inspired to be researchers? How many of us have been inspired to be change makers? We are entertained enough. Entertainment is enough. It's time for us to embrace global change. It's time for us to see ourselves as leaders.
All right, so let's wrap this up with this inspiration call to the people watching us out there, to the young people who are glued to this, beautiful and inspiring podcast that we dish out to you guys. So what's one message every young creative or one young creative who's watching out there who feels unheard, who doesn't know how to go about the future? What's one thing you can say to them, Mr. Idris?
Actually, I would just say that as a content creator, you shouldn't just be a content creator. You should learn to be creative. And those creative out there, you should know that, yes, innovation is the peak of all. So you need to be innovative and you need to be productive for you to, actually make impact to whatever you're doing.
Okay, so Mr. Biodun, let's wrap this up with you. So if you could rewrite one policy, one system, one mindset to help the youth unlock, a great level of creativity in Nigeria, what would it be? What would you be saying to them right now?
You can change lives with your content. You can change lives with what you create. Stop playing small. It's time to play big. There's space for you at the top. And to be honest, a policy is to ensure that the right set of people are being celebrated. If we have more people that are doing well celebrated, people will be inspired to do well. People will be inspired to do this for a great cause. Do this for a great cause. If it's not paying you now, just keep doing it. Soon enough, you'll be the top. You'll be at the top of your game. Thank you very much.
And that's it on Youth Agenda today. Thank you very much. Join us next time. I am Hosanna Okorafor.